This is Kevin Jackson of the Black Sphere Radio Show. Listen to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
What's going on in your head? I think your brain is gone dead.
At Independent Journal Review, we publish news that is objective, fair, and entertaining. As one of the top websites in the United States, it's our duty to bring the absolute best to our readers like you. IJReview.com, your number one source for news and entertainment.
This is Lachlan Marquet of the Washington Free Beacon, and you are listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
He says he doesn't have a horse in this race, but Retractor knows he does. Now he's got egg on his face. The donkey's on the lookout, owned by a kid. They can say it was a crap, but Retractor knows what he did.
Hi, I'm Dustin Hoyt with America Our Way, and you can hear me right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio at 10/9 Central on Thursday nights. We bring you the best in political commentary from the right-wing, conservative, libertarian perspectives coming together and bringing the best content on the internet. Be sure to tune in every week for your favorite shows. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Hi, this is Matt Lewis from the Daily Caller, and you are listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
At Independent Journal Review, we publish news that is objective, fair, and entertaining. As one of the top websites in the United States, it's our duty to bring the absolute best to our readers like you. IJReview.com, your number one source for news and entertainment.
Okay, welcome back to The Right Mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausen. If you missed the first half hour and you suffer from separation from your iPhone, if you lose it for 15 seconds in your house, you need to listen to the podcast on Spreaker or our website later, because we got into that quite a bit. 412-567-6879, but do not call in during the next half hour, this half hour, because we have one of my favorite guys in media, and Dan, I'm just not blowing smoke up your butt here, because the stuff that you do, I love every minute of it. But Dan Joseph, MRC's Dan Joseph, Media Research Center, that is. Dan is MRC TV's content specialist, and he has an awesome YouTube website, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But Dan Joseph, welcome back to the show, man.
Thank you. You know, even if you were blowing smoke, I don't mind, because I need that little ego boost every once in a while. I really do appreciate that. So thank you. It's great to be back on the show.
As we all do, particularly Hausen.
I am a unfillable hole for positive affirmation. That's for
there you go.
I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah. Phrasing, I suppose. Right. Good.
Yeah. All right. So, dude, I want to get into the stuff that you do, like we did last time. But before we do that, the dude being Dan, Hausen and I call each other dude, or by our last names on a regular basis. So, just want to get your take on a recent couple of goings on, and I guess the one that pops to my mind first is John Boehner dissing Obama, if you will, a protocol faux pas, inviting Bibi Netanyahu. I don't necessarily buy that, but inviting Bibi Netanyahu to speak before a joint session of Congress without Obama's blessing, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And now our president, dare I say, has his panties in a wad and is refusing to meet with Bibi when he shows up in March. What do you think about that whole fiasco?
Well, I'm sort of conflicted about this. If there was a Republican president in office and that kind of thing happened, and Nancy Pelosi or Harry Reid invited somebody like, I don't know, Vladimir Putin or some Fidel Castro, as they're enamored with him, to speak without talking to the president about it, I think I'd be pretty upset. That being said, this is such an important national security matter. The president obviously does not like Benjamin Netanyahu. There's nothing that's going to happen there. So I think it's imperative that he come and at least speak to somebody. At least, tell us what's going on and why he needs our help publicly so much. So he's just not sort of dissed by the White House and his views are forgotten about. So in this kind of setting where you have Iran and just chaos in the Middle East, I think it's actually not a bad idea, and kudos to Boehner for being brave and doing it.
See, I agree with you on both counts, but I think more so on the latter, because it's not as if Barack Obama has been BFFs with Bibi Netanyahu and Israel. I mean, in my humble opinion, he has thrown both Netanyahu and Israel under the bus at almost every opportunity. So now, sure, the protocol was breached, but I gotta go with Boehner on this one, man. At least he showed some backbone for a change.
Yeah, look, I mean, sure, that's true, and they legitimately do not like each other. I mean, I think everybody in Washington pretty much understands that it's not just they disagree with each other; they are not friends. And given the situation there, somebody needs, at least Congress is showing the people of Israel and showing Netanyahu that somebody does care if they get blown off the map, which I think is a good thing. There needs to be that outreach there. And I think they'll have a constructive conversation. I certainly hope they do. And, it sends the world a message that desperately needs to be sent and that our president, unfortunately, isn't sending. He's in India chewing gum with the prime minister or whatever he's doing today, which is kind of embarrassing. So, yeah, I think I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I just think as far as Netanyahu goes, that is our best, quote, ally, quote, in the crazy cul-de-sac of the Middle East. The guy that's got on all sides people that have, in writing, vowed to push him off into the sea if they can. Mm-hmm. We're obviously significantly involved in all kinds of conflict going over there. I think that listening to what that guy has to say is somewhere between critical and essential.
Right, and the other thing is the news broke yesterday that an Obama operative, somebody who up and get elected twice, Jeremy Byrd, is actually going over to Israel to help work for Netanyahu's opponents to try to get him thrown out of office and try to work against the Likud party. Now, of course, they'll deny any connection to the Obama administration or Organizing for Action if they're ever asked about it, but it's just a little bit too much of a coincidence, if you ask me. So I think, not only are they doing that, they're somebody on the left is playing politics in Israel now, hoping to change, hoping to get an electoral result that's more conducive to what they want in the Middle East, and we're not even sure what that is at this point. So, I think it's bad all around, and I think it's going to be very, very constructive to listen to Netanyahu and hear what he has to say.
Well, I thought that news, I saw it as well about the political advisor. I thought that the irony of that juxtaposed with the explanation that the administration gave as to the reason they weren't bringing Netanyahu in that it was so close to the upcoming election, I thought the irony of that was just amazingly hilarious.
Which isn't it? And that was the
we
first
don't want to be
they had.
Wait, I'm sorry, Dan. Say
yeah,
that again.
that was all right. No, that was the first response they had was, oh well, we don't want to do this because it's not. It's too close to the election. We don't want to have to, we don't want to get too involved in their electoral affairs. And the truth is they do that all the time with people who come speak to Congress or come to the United States and visit when it's near election time. There's a whole list of people that they've done it with. So that's a bogus excuse anyway. But
it's a complete bogus
excuse.
And
then to do this, which is completely 180 degrees the opposite of what they said. It drives you crazy. They do this all the time. It's been 6 years now, but you just kind of got to throw your hands up and say, well, what do you expect at this point? What is there what do you expect them to do?
Exactly. And back to this this Jeremy Bird is the guy's name. I have a it's probably 3/4 through. It's a draft. I'm going to post this on IJR. This very thing we're talking about sometime after the show is over. But this Jeremy Bird was National Field Director for Obama's 2012 campaign, working for an Israeli-based anti-Netanyahu group. I think it's called V15, which is backed by One Voice International, a State Department-funded organization. They're both their intent is defeat to defeat Netanyahu. So is it a stretch to suggest that by at least Dan tacit approval from the State Department that you can't connect some dots here?
Yeah, I don't want to speculate too much on that because
I don't either. But I mean,
actually, the first time you told me about that, of course, I mean, anything's possible with these guys. What I find the most interesting, though, is how their solutions to the Middle Eastern problem, particularly when it comes to Israel, is just so at odds with what is beneficial to the national security of the Jewish state. And I can't, the polls out of Israel are pretty close right now. I mean, Likud seems to have a small advantage. They seem like they're going to be able to put a coalition together, but there is still a chance that the other parties could get enough votes to put a coalition together to put somebody who is, I wouldn't say anti-Israel into office, but somebody who's going to, give back the settlements, concede to the Palestinians and to their neighbors and to Iran and make the country less safe. Of course, if that's the Israeli people's will, then so be it, and America should respect that. Obviously, that's the Obama administration's will, though, and not meeting with Netanyahu alone is proof of that. So it's a bad time to be Israel. I mean, I think this is probably, everybody says, every presidential candidate or guy running for president says, oh, I'm the best friend Israel has ever had. And they said, Obama said that in 2012, but I think it's less believable now under this administration than it's ever been before. And I think it's going to be one of the sad stories and one of the real central points in the history books when it comes to why Iran is going to get a nuclear weapon and the history behind that.
I think there's no doubt. Listen, I want to change topics here and talk maybe just quickly because we want to move into how you do the videos that you do for MRC, and I have a surprise for you from your YouTube channel.
Uh-oh.
But one of your recent YouTubes that you put up was about why Obama did not go to Paris for what was the largest gathering protest in the history of France, and this massive statement against terrorism. Talk about that just a little bit.
Sure. Well, a lot of that was top 5 reasons. A lot of it was tongue-in-cheek because the reality is there is no good excuse for him not to go. So a lot of them were just jokes that said, oh, well, this is possibly why he wanted to watch football, or he wanted to avoid the Danish prime minister who was flirting with the Mandela rally last time. But, the real reason, of course, is that we have seen this administration time after time distance themselves from anything that involves not just anything involving radical Islam, but even the word itself, Islam. So they can't say it in public. They can't say it's a strategy. Now, it's embarrassing, yeah, but I mean, it would be foolish to say, well, he just didn't go because he had other things to do. He didn't have anything else to do. He didn't go because that was his statement. He wants the Muslim world to think that he is detached from this fight, which now it seems like Europe is finally taking up, hopefully, and he wants the United States to have nothing to do with it at all. At least that's the image he wants to give to the Islamic world, and unfortunately the same image goes to the radical Muslims who are also watching it too. So it's been a strategy. It was a strategy getting out of Iraq. It's a strategy getting out of Afghanistan. I think this whole theory is, well, just leave them alone. Let's have nothing to do with it. We'll drop a drone here, we'll drop a drone there. But the reality is that's his plan. And I thought that it was really humiliating. I mean, that he wasn't there. He's the leader of the free world, which does not mean, maybe he thinks leader of the free world means he has to give free stuff to the entire world. That seems to be his... he's doing more of that than actually leading anybody anywhere.
Okay,
so
I'm going to write that down, Dan. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm going to write that down. Maybe he thinks leader of the free world means give free stuff to the world.